Today's program, I'm pleased to welcome Bruce Vance. He's an IICRC approved instructor for the house cleaning technician class. In addition to running his own house cleaning company, looks like it's called Town and Country Cleaning. Bruce, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So you do classes, you teach the industry how to clean, and you run a company as well. You must have plenty of time for golf.
Golf? What's that? No.
Exactly. Well, thank you for joining us. Today, we're talking about the HCT class, which is a 2-day technician training class that has certification. And I know that ARCSI offers it, ARCSI, a division of ISSA, and you're the teacher, you're the instructor. Tell us about the HCT class and why it's so valuable.
Well, when we started out in the cleaning business 31 years ago, there was no kind of an overview class to teach us everything we wanted to know. And early days, we were cleaning a floor, a marble floor, with what we thought was a nice, safe product, and we burned the floor. $20,000 later, I said, "Hark, I need to know what I'm doing." Well, the only way to learn about these different surfaces back then was to take each course. So I have 17 different certifications. Because I wanted to be in 17 businesses? No, because I wanted to keep out of trouble. So when ARCSI was formed about 12 years ago, they knew they wanted a certification, and they went to the IICRC to help develop one. It took about 3 years to do this. And one of the big advantages of this class over anything else that's out there is that this is done, it's a peer-reviewed product. It is done by a committee that includes people like representatives of microbiology, representatives from the chemical manufacturers, the equipment manufacturers, the cleaning industry. We're hoping to get more of the people from the actual manufacturers of surfaces involved, but we're still working on that. But it's not one person's idea. Everything else that's out there is pretty much, hey, this is my idea, this is how we do it. So here we've got a peer-reviewed class that is a survey that covers everything that we cover in a home. And that's the main difference of it.
That is a big mistake. You said how many thousands of dollars?
$20,000.
Yeah, there's a lot of homes you have to clean after that to make up for that kind of loss. So I can see why taking this class would be a protection for many companies. That's a hard loss to swallow. You talk about this being an intense course. Why is that?
Because we cover every single surface in a home. We have to deal with every surface in a home. I also teach an occasional carpet cleaning class. It's like, what do I do? What do I talk about for a whole 2 days? Because I'm used to having to talk about stone, having to talk about carpet, having to talk about wood, having to talk about all the different surfaces in the building. Health. I mean, we deal with health a lot. Do we understand how we're disinfecting and why when we shouldn't? These are all the kinds of questions that get involved here, and especially with the pandemic that has come in, some of these have really come to the forefront. What kind of cleaners are we using on different surfaces? One of my favorite comments is, I'll ask a class, have you ever gone into a home that has these nice granite countertops, and you run your hand over it and it's all gritty? And the homeowner says, yeah, I clean it like the installer told me to. But what they're using is actually micro etching the countertop and causing the grittiness. How many people know that? So we have to get intense, and we don't try and figure out how you're going to do restoration work. What we're trying to do is keep you out of trouble doing what you're doing.
So Bruce, you mentioned a big mistake already. There's got to be a couple others that we can really appreciate keeping out of trouble. Why don't you share those with us?
Okay, we had a case actually down in Alabama where I got a call from a homeowner of all things. because her cleaners had decided her floor was really dirty. So they had put a little extra cleaner in and a little stronger cleaner in when they scrubbed her hardwood floor, and that dissolved the polyurethane. The problem came when the insurance company refused to pay for it because it wasn't an accident. It was malpractice, as it were. The other thing we run into a lot is, well, when sometimes it's spotting with bleach. You know, the internet tells people you can spot the carpet with bleach. We've run into several instances where people have tried that on nylon carpet, and now they have a bleach spot they cannot get rid of. The other big one that we run into out there is people want us to handle mold because we're cheap, because theoretically, because we're at least less expensive than a mold remediation will be. You'll hear things like, now you see we've got some mildew on that wall, just spray it down. And I became certified in mold so that I could say, your $200 job's not worth $2 million in liability to me, because there's a saying out there, mold is gold among the legal profession. So there are a lot of things we can help you avoid these kinds of problems and give you ammunition to talk about why you shouldn't do some things that maybe a homeowner or a realtor wants you to do.
It makes sense. Let's dig into this question. What does this class really do for professional house cleaners? Not about maybe keeping them out of trouble. We want to do that, but to their professional growth.
It shows that this is a profession, that this is a skilled trade. It's not just Mary doing for Miss Jones anymore. This is, as I say, a real profession. We're training with science. And so when somebody goes out and they've had this class, they can make intelligent decisions on how to handle problems in the workplace, in the home. They can figure out how to stay out of trouble. They may be able to help educate the client, because obviously if we can go in and see a problem and educate the client ahead of time, it's, as they say, it's education. After that, it's an excuse. And there are lots of things we're seeing, like we're seeing etch marks in, say, black granite, which is not supposed to acid etch, but there are issues with black granite that people are not aware of, and other issues that are out there. So when you go out, you have a sense of understanding more about what's happening, what your chemicals are doing, what your surfaces are doing, how they're responding, and you set yourself apart by being certified. You've got a third party that says you have some idea of what you're doing. And believe me, most people out there don't. And of course, avoiding mistakes.
Yeah, I imagine that one way of thinking people have is it's just cleaning a home. Everyone does it. But what would you say to
that? You just have to go out onto some of the Facebook websites and such to see how to make a $10,000 mistake in under 2 minutes. See that one a lot. And in fact, we show you how to make a $10,000 mistake in the class. But with the idea being, please don't. When we started, Jeff, we cleaned vinyl, we cleaned ceramic, we cleaned porcelain, we cleaned formica, we cleaned nylon carpet, we vacuumed nylon carpet, and we vacuumed hardwood floors. And those early hardwood polyurethanes lasted forever. The livers of the people who put them in didn't, so they took a lot of those solvents out. The modern polyurethanes don't hold up as well if they're site finished. So we weren't dealing with 30 years ago, it took real work to screw up those surfaces. Today, we have much more delicate surfaces out there. I go to the surfaces show and I go, what have they made that's uncleanable this year? I finally figured out when they say maintenance free, it means you can't clean the stupid thing. But we've got to be, a lot more care has to be given, and a lot more things can go wrong.
Agreed. And everyone in the industry needs to be as professional as they can be So thank you for what you
Exactly.
do. Thank you for what you do to make that happen. Well, to wrap up, those watching this today, how can they take advantage of the HCT class?
Okay, you can go to the ARCSI website, and under certifications, you can sign up. There's a member's price, and then there's a non-member's price that includes a year of membership in ARCSI. And you can also go to the ISSA website, and they will have any listings that are out there. And this is good because, it's great, of course, for a home cleaner, but if you're a restorer, say, and you're taking, you're cleaning up after a fire, you do the restoration work, and then you have to do a final cleanup. If you're doing water damage, you're doing that final cleanup, this is all very helpful. And your understanding of surfaces are the same regardless of what you're doing. So it's a class that I think has a very broad need, and hopefully we'll see a lot of people at it.